Don't turn the light out, let it burn brighter. I can see so clearly now. For every fear that's fading, another heart is waiting. It takes a man to hold things down.
Yes, guys, welcome back to another stream, man. We got the race for the title show. Potsy will be with us shortly. I'm joined by Roms and Dan as well. We're going to be discussing quite a few different topics today on today's show. I want to speak about Kevin De Bruyne, his potential replacement, because I want to get the lads' opinion on this, because we talk about this all the time on the channel as City fans, but I want to get neutrals' views and rivals' views on it as well. We're going to speak about the Arteta pressure that he's starting to face now. Some Arsenal fans who are very Arteta in are starting to ask questions. Also, about Chelsea. Are they dark horses? And we'll just have general title chat as well. But big up, lads, for joining me on the show today, man. Hopefully you guys are good. I do want to start off with this Kevin De Bruyne news, though, boys, because like, obviously you guys will probably know Kevin De Bruyne's out of contracts at the end of the season. For me, like he's the greatest City player of all time, in my opinion. However, we've got a bit of a weird situation because do we give him a new contract or not? He's on 400 grand a week, but he's been injured again. He's only played 4 games, I think, this year for us. He was obviously missed half a season last year. Jamal Musiala is apparently signing a new contract. It's like it's all coming out of Germany today that like it's done, basically signing a new contract. Wirtz apparently doesn't really want to leave Germany. So I kind of just wanted to throw it out to you boys as sort of like neutrals and rivals as like, what do you think City should do? I'll start with Roms and then just open it up to you, to the panel. But like, what do you think City should do here? Like, what should the strategy be? Because we are in a bit of a weird situation with this.
First of all, how old is he now?
I think he's 33, he'll be 34 by the end of the year, I think.
I agree with you, LB. I think he's literally your greatest player of all time. It's a tricky one because I didn't know he was on 400k a week. That's ridiculous. He warrants it. I mean, everything he's done for the club. But the way I see KDB, right, and I think I said this with you on many streams last season, LB, he's now in that period in his career where I feel like he should come on the last 10, 15, 20 minutes of games and kind of be the match winner or see them out. One game that's quite evident to me was the Newcastle game where he comes on last 20 minutes. He kind of played that quarterback role, them Hail Mary passes, and then he wins the game essentially. I know Oscar Bob scored the winning goal, but it was him. Like he's the reason he won that game. But I just now think he can't really play 9, 10 games in a row now. Like his body is giving up on him, and this is the coming of age. I was hearing that he's had a lot of injections and he's had to take a lot of pills and whatnot for him to get through a lot of games. And this was similar to Gerrard at the back end of his career as well. He was injured the last 2-3 years, but again, as footballers, you soldier through it. You don't want to be out as a footballer. But I feel you maybe should just cash in now, and because Saudi, you still get good money from the MLS, you still get good money from Saudi. It's been well documented that he said I think he prefers to live in America than a Saudi country. I think he's come out a few times and said that. But then the conundrum is his two successors I was thinking of was Musiala and Wirtz. And if you're now saying Wirtz don't want to leave Germany and Musiala's
well, that's what they're saying. That's what all the guys are saying. Like, he doesn't really want to leave Germany. He wants to stay. It's like, you know, like Barella. Like, Barella don't really want to leave Italy. Like, they're saying Wirtz is the same. Like, he don't want to leave.
It's a tough one because then you look at who's out there and no one can replace him. It's like us with Salah when he eventually leaves. You have to get someone that's half as good as them because there's no one out there that's as good. But if you're now saying them two possibly won't come, I'm trying to think of other players in world football that's even half of KDB's ability, and it's tough. Do you want my honest answer, LB? I'm not actually sure of this one, because if there's no replacement, I think you give him a contract, because that last 10, 20 minutes of a game, he can win it for you. But
so is that what you're saying? Are you saying then if City can't get Musiala or Wirtz, you just give him another contract?
Yeah, I think that's the conclusion I would come to, because if you can't get any of them to, I'm trying to think of I don't know if you don't have any other names, but I'm trying to think of who else. We've been
linked with this Sudokov guy who plays for Shakhtar, played against Arsenal a couple of weeks ago.
I'm not sure about him, LB. We've been linked to him every summer. Chelsea have been linked to him as well. He just looks very I don't know. That looks like it's his level. I could be wrong, but
Simmons is another one. Baena, we've never been linked with Baena, but he's another name that people throw out there. I don't know. What about you boys? Potsy, Dan, like, what are you saying? What you reckon City should do?
Yeah, in my opinion, same as what Salah is. If he's still delivering at the age of 32, 33, I don't know why we have to go down this conversation of, it's a shame he's 32 and he's got to go and hang up his boots. Man, if he's still killing it, then keep him. I understand why we're trying to replace KDB. You're never going to replace KDB, so you might as well go and keep KDB, right?
He's never fit though, Dan. So
yeah,
he's played 4 games this year. So if you're City now, what would you do now if you're City right now?
I'd honestly give him a year extension. I would. That's what I'd do. If he doesn't want to, he go, and he wants to go, then you can't, right? But that's what I would offer him. We're talking about these names like they're going to come and replace KDB. They ain't going to. Like, Florian Wirtz is probably the better option. Musiala's staying. I still think Wirtz would go City. If you said to him, here's $350 a week, he'd go to City, right? Or whatever it is you want to offer him. So he might want to stay in Germany, if Leverkusen. But there's rumours he wanted to go to Bayern as well. How many bloody players can get in this Bayern side if Musiala's staying as well, right? So I think Florian Wirtz could go to Manchester City, and I think it's the best option. Xavi Simons, I actually really do like him. I don't think he's really flourished into the player I thought he would have been 2 years ago when I first saw him. But, he's still a decent talent. I also not too sure about this Shakhtar lad. There are other options out there, but like I say, you go through them, they're nowhere near it on that level. And for me, KDB trying to look to replace him, I don't think you're going to. I don't think the Liverpool will replace Salah when he goes. I don't think that we've been trying to replace Thierry Henry for a long time. Sometimes you don't replace these quality players. Do you know what I mean? You just never do. You've got to look at who's the best option out there now. Forget KDB, ain't going to be him. And I look at what Manchester City have let go, and I wonder why they have let it go. I'm not saying that they would have waltzed into the team by now, but I think they could look a little bit better with a Morgan Rogers and a Cole Palmer right now. Do you know what I'm saying? So I look at it and feel like there's potential that they've potentially held some L's on the players they've got. That's taking nothing away from your talent, because when you've got quality in front of it, sometimes there's no pathway and these players go. But I look at it now and I think, what was the pathway then? Who was ahead of Cole Palmer? Like, who was actually getting in his way? Who was getting in the way of Morgan Rogers? Like Kovacic? Like, what are we doing here? Like, these two players could have actually been.
The Palmer, we discussed this on the channel last night about Palmer. Palmer was a legit mistake. I'm telling you now, I never seen this coming from Morgan Rogers in the academy. Sometimes like you watch the academy and you see a player and you're just like, yeah, they won't make it, and then they leave and you're like, what the fuck? Like, I never seen that from Rogers in the academy personally. But yeah, Palmer, we discussed this on the show last night. Like, that was just a mistake.
LB, I remember you one of the first City fans. I remember streaming for you in the minute it went through. What was it, Dan? Was it 50 million you paid for him, or slightly below? Around that region.
About 40 to 50, yeah.
40 to 50. I remember LB actually saying, one of the first City fans. A lot were kind of dismissing it, like, it's all right. We can. I think because City have that conveyor belt of talent, it's like, we're just going to replace him. It's all right. Someone else will come through. But LB was actually saying, you know what? I wish him the best, but I think this is a mistake. So big up to you, LB. I remember you one of the first that said, I don't think.
I remember LB saying that. I thought it was a madness, if I'm honest, to be honest, because everyone that I spoke to, and I don't know many City fans, to be honest, because of the area that I live, but a lot of people, mind you, there is more down here now. But I will say that there's quite a lot that were saying this Palmer's going to be the next best thing, and I'm like, why don't you play him then? And then I remember him scoring against us in the Community Shield, and I'm thinking, this kid looks good. And then I'm like, what? Chelsea? Like, why would you sell to one of your rivals at £40 million? I know they're not rivals in terms of competing at the top right now, but Chelsea will be back one day, like in the next few years, because they'll spend their way to the top like they always do. But for me, I'm looking at it thinking that was a massive L now. And I don't know, I just feel it needs freshening up at City. Like, KDB aside, you've got a lot of players now that are coming to 30 plus. I just feel you need a couple of to inject some pace in there, a little bit of young flair. I think you will. You've got money to do it, and I wouldn't be worried if I was a City fan. You will rebuild, whether it takes 2 windows, 1 windows, or 4 windows. You will get a side that's competing again, because that's what Man City do, right? The way that you run fantastically well. But I just can't help but think that at the moment, I look at this with strikes as well. I don't think the talent's out there as much anymore, boys. Like, I really don't. I don't see where the talent drop has come from and where it is. I always mention England as an example, but you can look in Europe, like look at the players that we used to have in the 90s and the 2000s that would waltz into most of our sides. And now we're like, where are they gone? Because we're trying to find a replacement for KDB at Manchester City. This is top level, by the way. This is not trying to get someone from Villa to try and replace, Tielemans. We're talking about Kate, and we're coming out with these names. Xavi Simons and Florian. Where is everyone?
Bro, I called this from time ago, yeah.
Quality's not there.
Did you remember? You remember like 10, 15 years ago, like Edison Cavani? Edison Cavani at the time was like probably 10th best striker in the world.
Yes.
Bro, if he came in now, he'd be top 2, top 3 strikers of the world.
Yeah,
I'm being deadly serious. But when he was kicking ball in his prime, like he wasn't even like Aguero was better than him, Suarez was better than him, Benzema, Lewandowski, just to name a few off the top of my head. Bro, the guy wasn't even probably like maybe he got in the top 10, I don't know, but like he wasn't in the top 5, top 6. But like players like that now, like Juan Mata, remember Juan Mata? Like that guy was like behind like fucking David Silva, like behind like the Fabregases, the Iniestas. If he was kicking ball now, he'd be like one of the greatest creative players in the world.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, the fall off in football is legit insane.
Like,
and you know
couldn't
what's
run
mad?
LB, so he's been left. The game's left those sort of players behind.
Yeah, because it's all gone P and P, isn't it?
Yeah, literally. Like those sort of players, they just. I mean, you put up the David Silva Valencia goal earlier on, and I was just thinking, like, you just don't have players like that about anymore. Like the game was slow enough that players like Juan Mata and David Silva could play on the wing for Valencia at times. Like it's just a different world.
Mate, he is so underrated, man. David Silva was unreal, man. Like people put like KDB on this much better level than him. I don't think there's a massive amount of difference, man. He was so good, David Silva.
He's my favorite City player.
People forget. Yeah, man. He was. I used to hate some of them. Man. Like, I couldn't hate on him. I'm like a little bit like KDB, to be fair. But you know, when you're just like, wow. I think you're gonna put people were like that with Henry. Oh, I can't stand his arrogance, but he's good. And that's what I was like with a few of these City players. You know, Aguero was another one. Yaya Toure. At times, they were just like elite level. I don't know where these players have gone. Man, like, look at that. You mentioned strikers. I always use the England striker analogy. Look at the state, right? Without being too rude. Look at the state of the England strikers right now. Other than Harry Kane, who's actually taking this look? Like, oh, is it Watkins or Tony? Is it Abraham or Solanke? Like people talk about Liam Delap getting a call up. Like, come on, man, what's happening here? Like, you know, I like the look of him, but come on, man, like real talk. Where have they all gone? Like, I remember Andy Cole and Ian Wright not getting a call up because they were in front of Sheringham and Shearer and all these man, Robbie Fowler. Like, you know, like Darren Benton and Gabby Agbonlahor, if they were playing now, they'd be up front for England. Do you know what I mean? That's how bad it's got. Like,
Benton was a good player, man. He was a good striker, Benton.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he's
100 goals.
Isn't he?
I hate it because of the beach ball stuff, personally. But
the beach ball, yeah, that was crazy.
He was a good striker.
Pepe Reina. It was like, oh, what the hell?
That was hilarious. That was hilarious.
Oh, I hated that day, bro.
Whoever threw that beach ball, man, I'll tell you, whoever threw that beach ball. But do you know what I mean?
There's a chance that the Prem's fallen off. Do you think the
Prem's fallen off, man? Not just
I know, but you know, like as a league, do you think the Prem can attract like the best players anymore? Even the best English players don't play in the Prem, and they always did, and now they don't. And then players like Salah
why do you think
might
that,
leave.
though, Dan? Why do you think like they don't want to play in the Prem then?
I think the Prem. I think the PGMOL are like killing the Prem. And I also think just as a league itself, I'm just not sure it's the most attractive one to be in anymore. I just don't know if it is. I don't know whether it's become like ultra competitive with certain type of like systems, and some players just want to play and be free and play in other leagues that are not as systematic and.
I think it did used to be the best in the world. I think now it's the most competitive in the world. I don't think it's the best anymore. And I think it used to be the best. I think, you know, Serie A and Bundesliga and La Liga even used to look at and go, oh, that's good. But other than 4 teams, the rest of it is dire.
It's definitely not as entertaining as it was.
No, it's not.
I think it used to be so much more entertaining.
So let me ask you another question. So why is it not entertaining anymore?
I think the football. I think football in general probably isn't as entertaining because, like we were just saying, like the real sort of like mavericks of the game don't really exist that much anymore. But especially in Prem teams,
bro. I'm gonna be real with you. Yeah, I think the greatest example to look at what you're saying in terms of football falling off and like it's not as exciting is look at Brazil. Look at Brazil. Like when I was growing up, bro, Brazilian teams like used to be. Bro, I could watch Brazil all day, every day. Like, they were so good, all the Brazilians. Now you watch Brazil, they're just like watching like a Spain team or something like that.
The drop off is mad.
From when their own legends, I think Cafu, R9, and Ronaldinho in the past year have all 3 come out and said, we don't like if I've got something else to do. If Brazil are on and I've got something more important to do, I'm not watching Brazil because I don't look. they're not a representation of us anymore. That it's
They don't
very.
even watch it.
And then you get that pork chop Richarlison coming out giving it. I mean, what's he done in life? Do you know what I mean, this absolute muppet of a player, absolute awful player. He's coming out trying to stick up for the team. It's a shambles. Gabriel Jesus and Richarlison from R9 and Romario. What are we talking about here? Like, what is going on? And like, it ain't just that, by the way. There's so much of it now that I look at and I think, wow. You know, when you do these previews, I do quite a lot of them. I know you guys do as well, yeah. And everyone wants to do these combined 11s. And I'm used to putting, like, I don't know, let's say Liverpool and Chelsea playing each other. I'm deciding between, like, Michael Owen and Robbie Fowler and Didier Drogba and Zola. And now it's like Darwin Nunez or Nicholas Jackson. It's like, what the hell are we doing here, man? What has happened to football, man?
Bro, look at this, yeah. Look at this. This is the Brazil squad, right? For this like international break. Like, look at the fucking players here, mate. Like, Andreas Pereira.
Yeah,
This is basically a United reject we're speaking about here. That's the craziest thing.
Bro, it's mad. Like, you
Look
know,
at
even
the
the
front
defenders,
line, man.
Danilo. Bro, where's the Marcelos? Where's the Roberto Carlos? Where's the Dani Alves? Even Maicon in his pomp was like pretty decent going forward and fun to watch. Like, they're all just like these programmed robots, yeah? It's going back to what Dan was saying. Like, there's no like flair in the game. And I think like the greatest way to look at it is just by looking at Brazil, because they was the ultimate flair team. They are the flair players. They're the players with the skill. They're the players with the individual like mad moments so that make you like Ronaldinho like summed up that. That's why I still have Ronaldinho as my favorite player of all time. Not the best player of all time. Favorite, because the way he played
He
football
was everyone's
like,
favorite, man. Yeah.
bro, he was just sick to watch.
Ronaldinho made you want to get to the school, get in the school playground with the ball,
Yeah.
and just like do what you saw him do the night before, like just get out.
You
there
never
and get
could,
the
though.
ball,
You
man.
always tried it, but you never could.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah, but you know what as well, yeah?
For me, it was Neymar because he was a bit more my
Neymar
time.
as well.
Your Ronaldinho would have been my Neymar. Like you said, Dan, you go to school playground the other day, and like Dan said, you try it and you couldn't pull it off. But it's like, oh my god, they do stuff out of the ordinary. You're like, I want to do that, but it's something that Dan just said. I think he's right. There's no real Mavericks and whatnot. You've got a few in like your Cole Palmers, your Lamine Yamals, but it's a dying breed. They're the last of a dying breed now. But what I've clocked is like, I feel like players don't want to come out of their comfort zones. That's why when you see it, it's quite refreshing. That when Sancho went to Dortmund, because if you look at it, Italians kind of stay in their leagues. So Barella, I know you've had the odd few like Jorginho past years, Calafiori, but normally the best Italian players want to play for the big three in, let's say, Juve, Milan, and Inter, right? Then you've got the Germans that like to stay in their league. That's why when you saw the German players come to the Prem, it was at the back end of their careers, like your Schweinsteiger. Fair props play to Ozil. Ozil came in his peak, but they normally like to stay in their country, or Philip Lahms and etc. But it's only really the Spanish players, I'd say, they're like probably the one country that actually come to the Prem quite early. You've seen Juan Mata, you've seen your David Silvas. They'll come in their prime, but all the other leagues, they just kind of like to stay in their country. So I don't even think it's a recent thing, LB. I think this has been happening. Like, let's say the last 5
you know the thing as well, right, about that whole like individual side of the game, right? Yeah. Is like when you see a player do a mad skill, they just get criticized for it nowadays. Like commentators, like, oh, I shouldn't be doing that. It's like, yo, shut up, man. Like, I want to see a guy do a rainbow flick. Yeah, I see a guy do a rainbow flick. Everyone acts like he's just shot the defender. You shouldn't be doing that. Shouldn't be doing that. No, that's a disrespectful. What are you talking about? Disrespect. Why is it Because someone explains to me, why is it disrespectful? Yeah, to do a rainbow flick. Why is it? It's a skill move. Is it disrespectful to do a step over? No. So what's the fucking difference? So why are all these guys, yeah, slagging off these players that want to do that? They just try to bore us to death, man. I want to see this.
Bad, man.
Yeah, bro, I want to see Anthony spin the ball. Like, it's funny. It doesn't achieve anything, but I want to see it, man. Yeah, I want to see like the some skills, some bit of flair, man. Everyone just like get the ball pass, get the ball. Show me the skills in it. It's mad.
Why I've kind of been depressed about is that your heroes through school were much newer than mine, because mine was R9 and Zidane, and you're on Neymar. It's like, wow,
I
I'm
thought
old.
you were going to say Matt Letizia or something, Dan.
No, not George Best or nothing like that, man. I'm not that old. But I was thinking, wow, you guys are talking about Ronaldinho and Neymar, and I'm talking about R9 and Zidane. Real talk, when R9 came on the scene, boys, I don't think you would know what the hell we were seeing. I don't know how old you boys are, actually. Obviously, you're younger than me, but hopefully not by too much. But I was looking at it thinking, wow, I don't think I've seen anything like this. It was like Messi, Ronaldo stuff. Do you know what I mean? It was that good. I was like, this guy, oh my God. He was literally just picking up the ball for Inter Milan and Barcelona and just run around everyone and scoring like for fun. And I was just like, if you put in like R9 best goals, you'd just be like, that is better than anything I've ever seen. Like,
Old Trafford give him a standing ovation.
Yeah,
bro.
He's got a hat trick and it's give him a standing ovation. He got subbed off. He gave him a standing ovation. He just destroyed them. The one thing I would say as well, is I don't know what your take on this is, boys, but when I watch like retro matches, they were a lot more open. Like when like everyone always says City are boring to watch. I promise you now, it's not City's fault. Every team we play, and Arsenal get this, Liverpool, you all get it, you've all seen it. They just come to the Etihad and they'll just sit on the edge of our penalty area. And this is why I've said, in my opinion, if the game ends 0-0, I don't think any team should get a point. I don't think you should get a point for a 0-0. I think you should only get a point if it's a score draw, because teams will come to the Etihad and just say, we can't win, so we'll just sit on the edge of the box, take a 0-0, and we'll just take a point. It's like, well, if you don't get a point, for that, then for me, like, I just think like we need to do something about these teams that just come to games and they're not interested in winning. They don't come to stadiums to try and win. They come there to just sit there, defend for 90 minutes and take a 0-0.
Yeah, but is this a dig, LB? Is this a dig? Is this what it is? Is this a dig at Arsenal?
No. I'm genuinely not. I'm talking about the lesser teams, man.
Dan, do you know what LB he's spot on? Because forget the rest of the Prem. Just look at the top 6 games in the past 5 years. The majority are boring. You get the odd one that I remember last season, United and Chelsea, that 4-3. We were all excited, albeit it's 2 teams that were poor defensively. It weren't good quality, but it was end to end. But most top 6 teams, that if you look at Arsenal versus Liverpool or City versus, let's just say the 3 teams that have going for the title recently, majority of the games are boring. The only game I could say in recent years wasn't that boring was, I think you would agree, LB, the 1-1 when Trent equalised. That was more end to end. And we've had a few. But other than that, the last 2-3 years, a lot of the top 6 games are very boring. And that's why I actually think Sky have actually moved away from putting them all on TV. Sometimes you'll see a lesser game on TV because they're probably thinking it might be a bit more entertaining. So, I think you're bang on, LB. I think you shouldn't get a point if it's a 0-0, honestly. And it shows the teams that have had a go, like your Brentfords in recent years, your Wolves, at City have got something. Do you know what I mean? Forest against us have got something. So you should actually go for the game.
I remember chatting about this with Judge Mo about football being not boring. I can't remember what it was now, but like in terms of level, and he blamed Pep. He's like, actually blamed Pep. I think Pep's ruined football. Everyone's trying to catch up with Pep, and they're like, I'm quite understand if that's why the games are boring more now. But I'd love to go back and listen to that again because he was like proper rattled everybody. He was like blaming Pep basically, like, oh, Pep's the reason this, Pep the reason that, and I remember thinking, Is that right? Like, is that real? I mean, I get that everyone's trying to catch him up because he's by far the best in the world, right? But I'm not so sure that everyone, like, his style is boring. I mean, I know some people think City are boring to watch, but I don't know. I'd be quite happy winning what they've won. I wouldn't be too bored. I don't think I'd be too bored, if I'm honest.
Some of Pep's teams have been like really entertaining. Like some of them have been really good. I mean, at the moment, I think LB's right. Like Pep's City, the way teams set up against them, it makes it difficult for them to even do anything entertaining because they're literally breaking down like a double wall of 4 every time they break through. And the game is played for the majority of the game. If City have possession inside like the defensive team's third, like because City just have the ball edge of the box, they're trying to move it around because this team are just happy to sit there and try and risk a point. I don't think Pep ruined it. I actually think maybe people trying to be like Pep might have ruined it because instead of people having their own styles, they just all copied one, and Pep's always
and they coach all the individualistic side out of the players from a young age, man. I guarantee if you went to academy football, like to watch the coaches for like the under 13s, under 14s, right? A guy does a skill move. I guarantee the coaches are getting onto these players saying, "Don't do that. Pass the ball. Keep the ball." If a player takes on a player, does a skill move and loses it, I guarantee you the coaches are going to be on and saying, "You've lost the ball. You need to keep the ball." It's like, nah. It's like, yeah, keep the ball, but at the end of the day, when you've got an attacking player on the ball, let them be free. Let them do what they want to do in the right. It's all about in the right areas. You don't want a guy doing step overs on the edge of your box, right? No one's ever wanted that. We didn't want that 20 years ago. We don't want that now. Yeah. But in the opposition half, why can't a player do something that mad?
LB, do you know what I think it's disingenuous to say it's Pep's fault? Because let me know if I'm going mad on the panel in the chat, but people are calling Tuchel, Mourinho, Conte. They were calling that football boring as well. But it was weird. Listen, they won stuff, but they were calling it boring as well. So you can't just pin it down to one manager. What I would say, like Potts was saying, if that means my team wins trophies, I would love that. I mean, I had success under Benitez. And again, that's another example. Benitez's football was boring. When we came up, Dan, and obviously LB, no disrespect to your team, but in like the noughties when it was the main four, right? Potts and Dan will both agree. When he played up against Liverpool, we were more defensive. We were hard to beat, not because we were amazing going forward. We never really were amazing under Benitez, but we were very resolute. All of the semi-finals against Chelsea in the Champions League, there were always 1-0s or 2-1s in the early Benitez-Mourinho era because both were quite boring. So I wouldn't pin it down to just Pep being boring because like Dan said, the most entertaining team I've ever seen in my lifetime was Barca from about 2008 to about 2012 when they were blitzing everyone, beat United in 2 finals. That Pep team was ridiculous. So it's unfair to just say it's on Pep. But I agree with you, LB. The individualism, it's gone right out of the game. That's why I said, when Grealish went to City, right, I know why you're going to go there. You want to win things, you get more money, do whatnot. But I knew we wouldn't see the same Grealish we saw at Aston Villa that we did at Man City because Pep, I'm not saying his system's quite boring, but he kind of takes that individualism away from you. But then someone might counteract and said, well, 1 minute, no, he doesn't, because Mahrez flourished under him, like Sane flourished under him. So again, I think it's a bit disingenuous to say that about a Pep team. I think it is, man.
Yeah, no, I agree. Let me have a look at some of these super chats. But we got to LB earlier on, said, go and get Arda Güler from Madrid. He's unhappy there. Yeah, I don't think he's playing much, is he? So maybe
a gal keeps going on about this guy. Do we know? Do you boys know much about him? I don't know.
I've seen him in the Euros, and he was pretty good actually. To be fair, but do you buy players off of Euros?
James Rodriguez. Yeah, remember him?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, let's be real.
Do you not remember Anahi from Morocco that lit up the World Cup? Where is he now? I don't even know who he plays for now.
Crazy.
You always get these players that you can't buy them off a tournament. You generally can't. I've only seen him for Turkey in the Euros, and he looked mint, but I've not watched him since. But I was on the stream. Apparently, he's only played I think it's 40 minutes of football this season for them. It's crazy. It's actually crazy.
Yeah, possible option. Makaidu in the EDS is slamming it. If that's the academy, I believe he is cooking at the moment. And Bill Varane as well says, LB, you should be blaming Pep for Kevin's injury in Milan. Was his 5th game in 90 days. Bro, I do blame him for that. I don't know how much you watch me on the channel, bro, but I do say that. I said Pep fucks up there. I said it at the time. Go watch the watch along. I said he shouldn't be playing. And then he got injured. And then Pep's coming out in an interview, in a press conference, saying we need to manage his minutes. But he didn't manage his minutes. It's crazy. Right, okay, let's speak about the title race a little bit. Yeah, you know what I want to speak about Chelsea, bro. Right, and I'll come to Dan first on this, because I seen a guy on Twitter last night. Yeah, not saying that he was going to leave to go to Blue Sky, but he was saying that Chelsea's fixtures coming up are ridiculously easy, in the next 10, I think, and that basically he expects Chelsea by Christmas to be in a title race. What you said about that? Can Chelsea get? I don't know, bro. What's this guy waffling about, bro? You've got fucking Villa, Tottenham.
Yeah, I was going to say we got some hard games,
bro. What is this mutant talking about? I swear to God, bro. I seen that on Twitter. I was like, I expected you to be playing all the dead teams.
So
okay,
from game week 8 to game week 17, Chelsea got the second hardest or the hardest running out of the Premier League teams. I remember reading that, so I was like, hang on, we're not at 17 yet, so I'm not sure that's right.
Is it Heidenheimer and Astana he's talking about?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it was. He wasn't talking about the Premier League. He was talking about the Conference
Shamrock
League.
in there as well somewhere.
My bad.
Shamrock.
Yeah.
My bad. Is that away, that game at Shamrock, or is it home?
No, it's at home. It's at home.
Bro, Dan, those Irish Donnies, yeah, they are mad. I went to a Bohemians game. Yeah, I don't know if you've seen it on my Twitter, bro.
Yeah, I did.
Bro, it fucking pops. You guys need to go over to one of those Irish football matches, man.
Mate, I haven't been to an Irish football game, but I've been to Gaelic football games, and they're nuts.
Yeah, they have the flares and everything, bro.
They do it proper, didn't they?
I thought it was Eastern European ultra, man. It was fucking sick, bro. I couldn't even see. There was smoke everywhere, all that kind of shit. It was fucking mint. And then they have a pub in the ground, like an actual legit pub, not like a concourse, like a pub in the fucking stadium that's popping off with tunes before the game, like tunes, pure loud. You get all your beers in glasses, not fucking plastics. Bro, honestly, man, Irish football is the way to go. It's like 15 quid a ticket.
Damien Duff's just won the league.
Yeah, he won the league, innit? Yeah. I was there. That was the game that I was at. Not the game, but I was on.
Right.
I was on the final game of the season.
Yeah.
But it was mint, bro. Honestly, guys, in the chat as well. Yeah, if you got an option to go to Irish football, go over, man, and just go watch one of the games. It's class. Standing the football's pretty dead, but like for the atmosphere and that, it is a buzz. It is a buzz. Anyway, sorry, Dan. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's fine, mate. I don't mind chatting about it at all. I reckon Irish football might be top level and non-league, to be honest, from what I've seen when they're playing. I don't know what you
bro.
think. League Two, not great.
I don't know because I don't watch anything other than the Premier League and Champions League, so I can't compare it. But it's low league. It is low league.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny, right? So I was in there, right? And the guy goes, "I swear to God, this happened. Yeah, I'm not making this up." So I'm just sitting. I'm there with my mate Hugh, yeah, and like with another guy, and the guy just says, I don't even ask the question. He just goes, "Yeah, it's probably League One level." I swear to God, yeah, the defender who had the ball turned around, went to do a pass back to the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper was in his net, and it was like, bro, it was that close to being an own goal. I swear, I just looked at him and went, "League One, yeah." I was just fucking dying, but nah, it's sick, man. It is a buzz. You should definitely get over, man. It's class.
Yeah, I always like Shamrock Rovers. I know nothing about yet, but I always remember Real Madrid playing them in a pre-season friendly. Like, does anyone else remember?
Cristiano Ronaldo's debut, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the only way I know that.
That's all I remember about him, to be fair. So when I saw we drew him, I was like, all right, fair. But nah, I was looking at a few of Chelsea's away, like teams that we got in the Conference League would have been better as away days, I think. But now I don't think we're in a title race. I just don't see it yet, unless we are very close and we're in the third place by the time January comes around and we spend big and Maresca's turned a corner with some of the things that he's experimenting on at the moment. I don't think Chelsea are in a title race. I do think we're doing better than I expected, though.
Let me ask you something, though, that because we all know expectations can change during the season for the better or worse, right? But like you just said, let's say you're third, couple points off the top by the 1st of January. I'm not, obviously, you'll know more than me. How much can you spend in January? Are you restricted? Is there any restraint? How much can you spend from what you know?
I actually don't know, but I feel like this Chelsea board probably won't
just find a way.
themselves. Yeah. And if they don't have the money right now, they'll be lining players up to sell. Players will be getting moved on. So I would think Ben Chilwell probably goes in January. Raheem Sterling, they might do something there because Arsenal don't seem that happy either. There's plenty of names in Chelsea's squad right now that they could move on. They could probably generate 100 million with the sale of like 3 or 4 players in Jan. And I think they'd do it quite easily. There's even talks about Dewsbury Hall going to Villa. And we literally just signed him, so they'll just free up that. So,
do you think Nkunku could go? Because he only really plays Conference League games, but the further you go, I think from the knockout stage, Palmer will get integrated and players that got left out. His game time might then be limited because he doesn't start in the Prem. He only gets the last couple of minutes in the Prem. Because there's talks from his camp, again, you don't know how true this is. You know, international break, people they want rumour builds and they want to just create news out of the blue. But apparently he's not happy. Do you think that? I think if he was to leave, it'll probably be more summer. But do you think there's a world where he could leave and maybe alone in January or something?
I'll be honest, Rums, I think he's gone. I think Nkunku's done. I think the way that his minutes are being so limited, I think the jury's out on him in terms of what Maresca thinks of him. He's not a number 9. They're continuously trying to force him into playing number 9. If you rate him and you think he's good enough, you try him in a game where the player in the number 10's not playing great. I said it to LB a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember if you were on the show or not, Roms or Dan, but I said I think he'd be a great replacement for Julian Alvarez. And I still think that. I think he could end up playing as one of the 10s in an Amorim system at Man United if he carried on the same sort of system that he played at Sporting. So I think he's easily good enough to go and play for a team that are of a similar level to Chelsea, if not better. And you'll see how good he can be. I just think the jury's out on him because I think Chelsea maybe recruited him as a 9, and quite evidently he's not that. And
the thing is, though, if he's go on, Potter, go on.
I was going to say Chelsea for me, what's impressed me the most is their balance in midfield is so good now because I feel like Lavia, Caicedo, and Palmer could be like the best midfield in the Premier League for the next 5-10 years. Like really, they're that good, they're that young at that age. I think Lavia is. I always kept it quiet about Lavia. He absolutely, but another City player that they could have had now, to be fair. He absolutely bossed us, man, when he was at Southampton. He bossed our midfield. It was embarrassing. Remember that time we were going for a title and we were 3-1 down and we drew 3-all? He absolutely annihilated us in midfield. And I thought, this guy's a baller. He looks ready now. Caicedo I've always rated. I know last season he was a bit of a shambles at times for Chelsea, but he's really come into his own. I think he, alongside Gravenberch, for me, he's been the best midfielder in the league so far this season. And then I think Palmer, we all know about. Chelsea have really got it sorted. If Chelsea, real talk, had a goalkeeper, striker, and another centre half, I think they're there. And these have to be world class players, by the way. I think they're there, man. I think they're there. I think they're 3 players away from being up with us. I really do.
What positions again were you saying?
Goalkeeper, centre half, and a striker, I think.
Yeah, I definitely. I think Jackson's an interesting one because he's developing really, really well. But like, if you get a world class goalkeeper, because that's Sanchez, I'm saying it now. I think he's worse than Muric. I think he's worse than Muric. I think he's the worst goalkeeper in the league. I said it for some time. I think he's worse than Muric. Get a solid centre back. They need like a leader, don't they, at the back for me?
Yeah,
they need like a Diaz style.
Jonathan Tah has been identified as the leader to come into that defense.
Go and get him. And then the striker one's an interesting one because he has developed really well, Jackson, to be fair. But if you've got the option to bring in like an Osimhen, are you going to say nah? Like, I'm going to keep Jackson.
Today is apparently Chelsea have the strongest interest in Gyökeres is the story leaking today. But like, I don't know whether or not we can. I don't know if we can match where he currently is in terms of what he could go to. Like, he could go to a team that are capable of competing to win the Champions League. I don't think Chelsea can give him that right now. That would be
if you're Gyökeres, would you move to Man United or Chelsea out of the two right now?
Chelsea. I go Chelsea.
Chelsea
is pretty much there, bro.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I think if you're a player, you're a striker, and you look at what's around you in terms of who's going to be able to create for you, there's enough players at Chelsea that excite you a little bit, like Pedro Neto, Cole Palmer, Noni Madueke. You've got João Felix in there as well, and Kunku. Whether or not I think if Gyökeres came in, and Kunku's definitely gone, by the way. But yeah, I think in answer to what Roms was saying, I think Chelsea could move on quite a few players and potentially spend in Jan. I'm not sure how that all gels together. Say we did go and recruit the exact positions that we need. I'm still not sure that by the end of the season that would have all gelled together. It might be that the next season it starts to look like the team Chelsea could have. I know people in the chat are talking about Esteval. The kid's 17, never played in the Prem. I'm not saying Brazil is not a physical league, because it is actually. I was looking through the Brazil, like all the Brazilians we talk about with flair and stuff, they're all still playing, by the way. Like Coutinho and all them sort of players. They're all still playing over there. But for me, Esteval, I don't think we're talking about him being unbelievable straight away as soon as he arrives next season, even though he's looking like he could be like the next sort of Neymar.
Did he come in January or in the summer?
Nah, in the summer.
Okay, because
I
I was
he's
going to
here
say
for the Club World Cup.
Okay, because I was going to say as well, LB makes a good point. Jackson's actually flourishing into a good forward, but I actually believe he might benefit even more alongside playing with a number 9. Do you know what I mean?
I think you need two type of strikers to get the best out of Jackson, because I think Jackson needs to be able to drop deep, but then you also need someone that can, as Jackson's dropping deep and he can turn, he can run, someone's already in position, like they're higher up the pitch. You know, I think a lot of teams would benefit from that. I think I was saying to Potts the other day, if Havertz had a striker around him, I think Havertz would be unreal. I've said this from as soon as I saw Havertz play. Even at Leverkusen, he used to have a striker, and then he'd be allowed to have a bit more of a free role. I think we saw it last year. I mean, Alvarez didn't put up fantastic numbers, but Haaland almost took away some of the sort of defenders away from Alvarez that gave Alvarez times to take advantage of that situation. And sometimes Alvarez would take men away from Haaland, and they couldn't do like the double up. I miss two up top. I really miss it. I think teams were way more entertaining with 2 up top.
4-4-2 is my favourite formation by far.
Same for even growing up, just seeing some forwards we had with Heskey, Owen, Carlton, Torres and whatnot. Even Gerrard and Torres for a season. Gerrard's basically playing as a support striker. I think you get the best out of your 9s when he's got someone right next to him. But I was going to say, do you think there's a world, Dan, where, let's be honest, the jury's still out on your left side. Mudrik's not it. Sancho, you don't know if you're going to sign him. You probably will, but you don't know.
We have to, I think, unless we finish below 14th. Like, I think we have to sign him.
Oh, you have to. Fair enough.
I think then he may be moved on, because I'm not sure. He's had injuries and he's been a bit unwell, but I'm not sure it's gone down. I'm not sure.
Do you think Jackson can play on that left eventually?
Yeah, I do. I think Jackson.
I think
can play
there
left.
was a point. Do you know what it was? I think last season when he wasn't as clinical, I think a lot of people were like, "Do you know what? He's not super clinical. He probably can't be an out-and-out striker. Let's move him to the left." But like this year, there's been moments where he's barely been in a game, and then he's like been unreal for like against you, right? Against Liverpool, he got threaded through Casado, and he just scored. And then the game against Arsenal, he was offside, but he did finish his dinner. Last year, he weren't doing that. I actually think give Jackson 2-3 more years. I think that's a 20-goal a season striker in the Prem. And I think what you then have to do is instead of waiting on a Mudryk or waiting on a Sancho, go and get like a 10-goal a season winger who's efficient, who can put up numbers. Also, by the way, I think Madueke will be out the door.
Dan, do you know something so funny, right? For all we say about Jackson last season, because I was one of them, I said he's not clinical enough. He got 14 league goals, and for someone,
17 all comps.
For someone's first, how much in all comps?
17, I think.
See, that's for someone who's come into the league. We all
22,
know
and he cost 30 million.
Exactly for the money, the age he is, the money you brought him in for. We've seen the best of strikers struggle in their first season, and they'll kind of hit the ground running their second. To get 14 league goals, and you said 17 in all competition, I looked back at it and thought, was that a bit too harsh on him?
I think three of us on this panel would have Jackson up front for their team. Like, I think Jackson and Havertz up front would be a dangerous duo for Arsenal. I think he's better than Darwin for you. I don't know about Jota. I think Jota's a great
Jota
player
doesn't
when
stay
he's
fit. So I see your logic.
The only person that's not having him is LB because he's got Haaland up front. But I bet you'd have him coming off the bench.
Well, I've got no one, so I'd take anyone. yeah, I'd take anyone on the bench because I've got no one.
I think Jackson got a lot. Last year, he missed a lot of chances. He probably could have had 25.
That was
early on as well.
It's
all about narratives, isn't it? It's like, you know, the narratives, yeah. Like it was that first month, 2 months for a new player in the Premier League, especially when they're at a big club, is so important because that sets the narrative. Because everyone's waiting to say, "Oh, damn, this player's going to be a problem," or everyone's waiting to say, "This player's a bozo." So, like with Szoboszlai, for example. He might have struggled like when he first come to the league, and everyone just starts calling him a bozo and he's trash. And I guarantee, like, he's not as bad as maybe like some people make out. It might not be great.
Did you see his free kick last night? Have you seen that?
That wasn't last night, apparently.
Oh,
was it? I've seen it. It got community noted and said that was from like fucking 10 years ago. Or some shit
right,
like
fair.
Is it for Hungary though?
Yeah.
He's a different player for them. But I was actually going to say LB is the reverse. So Szoboszlai's first 2 months. He was amazing for us.
Yeah, true.
Scoring long ranges. I remember he scored a half volley against Villa, where he literally just hit on the half volley and literally just slowly just drove into the bottom corner. We were all, even myself, I was like, oh my God, we actually signed a wicked player. After that first 2 months, I don't know what's going on with him, but I know what you mean, LB, that it's always about narratives because we've all had it. Diego Costa, when he first come to Chelsea, Dan, you've had it with the likes of Sanchez.
Look at Gravenberch.
You've had it with Aguero. Say that again.
That's what the other side of the argument is Gravenberch. Like last year, miles off it. Everyone's thinking, what a Liverpool done getting this guy. Now people are like, he might be the best midfielder in the league.
Let's be honest as well, right?
Z is a wild one, by the way. That comment from Z is absolute wild. He's a bigger flop than Anthony.
No, he's definitely not. I'll tell you something else as well, yeah. In this world that we live in, which is like the YouTube space and chat, even though you might not be like on the screen, you're involved as well because you're in the chat, right? As soon as a player's signed, you have to give an opinion on a player. Like, I'll go to a panel in like September and someone will say, what do you make of this signing for this team? And I can't just sit there and say, like, September, lads. Like, I can't come back to me. Like, I've got to fucking give an opinion. The chat, and so my opinion is, oh, it's not looking great so far. And then I'll probably run with that narrative for a while. Oh, I'll say, oh, it's looking good. And the chat do it as well. The chat do it as well. So chat, I'm not just cooking myself. You do this as well. But you've got to give an opinion. It's the same with the media. It's the same with the journalists. Like, bro, like no one's ever wrote an article and said, oh, this player's just been signed a month ago. I've got nothing to say. I'm going to give him 6 months. Like, everyone's always got to have an opinion, and that's just the world we live in. That does not help. Because then as well, I'll tell you something, I always say this. People don't like changing their mind. I change my mind all the time. Yeah, I change my mind all the time. I don't have a problem with
nothing
people
wrong
calling me
with a
flip-flop.
Nothing
Bro,
wrong
I don't
with
give
it.
a fuck. Some people call me a flip-flop. I don't care. Like, I just change my opinion all the time because,
Yeah, but
like,
opinions
that's
can
what
change because
people
what
don't
is
do
happening in
that
front
though.
of you. Yeah,
Exactly.
People don't.
I don't know.
People
But
are
the thing is,
scared to change.
Dan, you're spot on. Like, I don't understand because we've probably all been called flip-flops, but if you've got new evidence in front of you, like you just said, Dan, what are you supposed to keep the same narrative when newer things are being presented to you? It
I
makes
think
no sense.
Kai Havertz is like the perfect modern day example. Like, I think a lot of people at Chelsea are like, come on, this guy's been awful. 60 million is outrageous price. Can't believe Arsenal are going to play that. Arsenal fans are like, what are we doing here? How are we buying this guy for 60 million? He's been awful at Chelsea. He's not good enough. But I could always see something in him, but never ever was at the level he should have been. It's obvious for everyone to see. Then look at his numbers now. I think it was only a couple of weeks ago we were talking about non-penalty goals being nearly as good as Haaland or whatever, or second to Haaland. And everyone's sort of sitting here having to eat humble pie now because everyone wrote him off and was like,
Dan, you know the funny thing about Havertz is I've flip-flopped him again. So when they signed him for 65 mil, I was like, this is a terrible signing. Then we got like halfway through the season. I was like, yeah, this is definitely a terrible signing. And then he started scoring loads of goals. And I was like, oh, this has been a good signing. And now I said to Potsy yesterday or on Monday, I said, I actually think Havertz now is a bit of a problem player for Arsenal because he scores loads of goals. So everyone's like, yeah, he's good. But I actually think that's masking the problem that they actually need an out-and-out striker.
Yeah.
But because he's getting goals, it sort of masks that problem. So I've gone back now, even though he's scoring.
I think what that is, though, LB, is you're not flip-flopping on Havertz. You're looking at Arteta as the issue, that if he doesn't want to upgrade on Havertz, then that's an Arteta issue.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, fair. That's
you know what I mean? So, like, for me, Havertz, I didn't want him.
True.
I don't think any Arsenal fan wanted him, if I'm honest. I think Arsenal were like raising eyebrows. I remember I was in the AFTV studio, me, Robbie, and Curtis, I think it was James, were like, you got to be kidding me, right? We're not signing this guy, are we? And then when we did, it was like, wow, okay. And then, of course, seeing him in the 8, I've got to say, I thought he was going to be one of the worst signings. I think me and Turkish actually were together. We went like, sort of got a lot of stick because we said this is going to be a Pepe type signing. This is how bad it's going to be. And then obviously when we played him out of 9, he started scoring. And then me and Turkish were like, yeah, do you know what? Fair play. Like, he's scoring goals. He's got better, but we still need more. And if Arteta believes that we're going to win a title with Havertz, I don't believe that he's on the right path. I think we need to go and get an upgrade on it. But it's a good example of how you can change your opinions. The problem is people get really rattled when you get called a flip-flop. I've been called a flip-flop for ages, to be honest with you, because I've changed my opinion on certain players and certain jobs that managers have done, like Mikel Arteta. I'll say is nightmare, and then I'll say actually it's done well to get us challenging, but I need you're flip-flopping now and all that. I don't really care because that means that you're actually real and you're keeping it real and you're looking at the scenario and allowing. If you can back up your opinions as to why you now think that, there's not an issue. If you just think, I think Arteta's a clown, actually, no, I think he's the greatest manager ever, people might look at you and go, what one is it, mate? I'm completely confused. But if you're backing up why you're now changing your opinion, ain't nothing wrong with that, man. That's what football's all about. And I want people to prove me wrong. I want Kai Havertz to get me 30 goals a season. I want Mikel Arteta to win me a Champions League and a Premier League this season. Do you know what I mean? I want to be wrong about stuff. So that's the way I see it.
I always say it's a win-win because if you've backed a player and they do well, you could say, look, I backed it from the start. If you've backed a player and then they don't do well, then you flip-flop, then they do well again. It's like, hold on, he plays for my club. He's doing well. Like, I want to be proven wrong. It's like me with Nunes. If you ask most Liverpool fans, I was his biggest front runner. I backed Nunes from his first whole season, even halfway through his second, right? And then when evidence gets suggested you're missing 2 yards out against Luton and several teams, it's like, hold on, I can't. The misses are now unforgivable. Then he went on a bit of form. I don't know if you don't remember when Salah got injured, Jota got injured, he played on the left. And he weren't scoring, but he got like 7 assists in a row or something. I was like, hold on, we might have a player here again. Then he's gone back to how he was. Yeah. Big up Tyler Jones. Konate's another one, right? He's so right. Do you remember last season, Pops, when Gabriel scores within 2 minutes? Konate makes a rash challenge that he doesn't need to make. And he done that several times last season. And I've always said he's a good player, but he's very rash. He needs to, like, his temperament needs to be better. Slot's come in and put his arm around him. I've not said a bad word about him this season. But big up Tyler Jones. That's the best example. That's the best example.
He has been an absolute monster. I think Konate and Saliba at France the next 5-10 years. Wow. Yeah, that is scary, man. They ain't going to concede.
They could end up at Madrid together, you know.
They could, you know. They could.
What, Konate?
Yeah, I've got a feeling. He runs out of contract next season. You know that.
Yes, no, but Oh, actually, I don't know if we're going to
another one at Liverpool.
Yeah, another one.
Another
I
one.
don't know if we're going to speak about Liverpool, but I've got actually some contract news that we don't know how true it is, but there's stuff that's
go on.
So
what
apparently, Trent is Salah and Van Dijk. Apparently, it's done. It's going to come out by the next week or two. I don't know how true this is, but apparently that's done. Trent was apparently pondering on signing a contract because he wanted to see if Van Dijk and Salah committed their future. Apparently, all three of them are done, and Diaz and Konate. So apparently, we're going to have 5 contract announcements, all positive, within the next 6 months. How true that is, I don't know, but that's what's coming out from various Liverpool sources the past couple of days. But I always say, it's the international break. People just like to create stuff. So you never know, but apparently they're all going to sign extensions.
I've said, I think Salah wants to stay desperately. I don't think he wants to leave. I honestly don't. People say about Salah, I don't think he wants to go. I think he likes Liverpool. I think he wants to stay. Van Dijk, I don't think he really is that arsed about leaving. Trent has just got the Real Madrid knock though, and that's the problem for him. And he's probably looking at it going, you didn't get this manager anything to spend. Yeah, even if you sign Salah and Van Dijk to contracts, they're in the 30s. Like, let's be honest, they're probably going to have a fall off in the next couple of years. He's got Real Madrid. It's the perfect opportunity to take over Carvajal because of his injury. These opportunities don't come knocking. He's one of his best mates.
I agree with you, but LB, I spoke to Grizz on my channel. He thinks that Van Dijk and Trent will stay and Salah might go Saudi. But again, Grizz has been wrong a lot. So I love Grizz, but he's been wrong a lot. So
I think Salah. I don't think Salah. When you actually listen to what Salah's saying, I don't think he wants to leave.
Did you see his
I
interview
think
yesterday?
he's pissed off. What?
He had a 20-minute sit down with one of our reporters. His mentality is top tier. I'm with you, LB. I genuinely don't think he's speaking about. I don't know why we've got this underdog notion with our club. We need to be winning everything. We need to be at the top. You're right, LB. I genuinely think he still wants to play at the highest level, and that's why I think him and Van Dijk will. As much as apparently him, Diaz, Konate, 5 of them are all signing. I do believe Trent probably goes to Madrid. I've said this for the last couple of months, but I do think Salah and Van Dijk actually stay. Now I'm thinking.
That's what I think. That's what I said to Grizz, and he's like, I don't know. I think it might be Salah that goes, but I think Trent will go Real Madrid, man. Because let's be real, it's a different knock. We know this with Jude Bellingham and other players, Gareth Bale, even like Owen in the past have gone. They just they can't say no. And when you're being offered that opportunity, Danny Carvajal, by the way, is unbelievable what he's done at Madrid. But when you look at it now, you think, Trent, that is just perfect fit right now. Best mates with Jude Bellingham, and I think there is definite chance that he goes. I think the other 2 will stay for the record. I think they'll get another contract.
Do you know what it is though? With Salah, there's rumours of where he'll go, and then with Trent, there's rumours of where he'll go. Van Dijk is so quiet, and he's still arguably one of the best centre backs in the league, if not Europe.
He is, yeah.
Real Madrid have got so many issues. Do they just do the double? They just get Trent and Van Dijk on a free.
How old is he?
Hey, you
33. Wait, look, I'll take my comms on this one, yeah. But I just think Real Madrid have got so many issues that Van Dijk just answers them. At least if it's for a season.
Dan, do you know who answers them? Potsy's got a fella called Saliba. He can go.
Why don't you go? I just think you go for both, and then Konate just for a couple of seasons afterwards, you'd be able to get a few. I don't know. I just feel
Dan wants to clear everyone out. Dan's like, get rid of all these.
Dan just wants everyone.
I don't actually want to clear everyone out. And I actually think this is what I was saying a bit earlier. I think for the Prem, this is actually disastrous. If you lose 4 world-class players from the Prem in one season, 3 from Liverpool, 1 from City, I think that could be horrific. There's talks like Haaland could go in a couple of seasons because he wants to move out to Spain or something like that. The Prem need to start doing something. And I think this is where FFP and all these financial restrictions in place are actually hindering the Prem rather than doing it any favours. Let's let Newcastle spend. Let's let Man City spend the money that they've got, because you can't tell me that Newcastle can't afford to pay the wages that the Saudi teams are playing because they're literally owned by the same bloke or the same PIF or whatever it is. So
the same bloke.
They could just pay it here. But then I don't know whether... I think something actually come out about Saudi wanting to invest in other countries. They want to reduce what they're doing. But I think the Premier League need to look at their model and go, hang on, we're being very complacent right now. We need to do something. The Premier League isn't even shown to the Premier League's not even shown to fans at 3:00 unless they can go to the games, right? So the Premier need to do something there as well. I think the Premier need to make sure that gets lifted.
That's a madness now, because they're like, no one will go to the games. No one will go to the games if you play them on TV. Of course they will, man. They'll fill their grounds up. Of course they will. So that's a madness for me. But I don't know what like on the Van Dijk thing. Just quickly, LB, before we move, right? Where do we put him, by the way, in terms of like all-time Premier League? So I think he's disrespected by
Did
people.
you see Keown, Dad? Did you see Keown?
No, go on.
No, what did he
So
say?
Keown did his top 5 and he left him out.
That's crazy.
For me, he's definitely up there. He's up there. Like I think he's up there 100%. For me, I think JT still for me is as an out and out defender. I think JT for me is the number one I've seen.
I think him and Rio for me. Him and Rio are the two that I would put.
Rio, I tell you something, and the chat might not like this, right? I don't like saying it. Rio has a shout at being one of the greatest ever because he can play in any era. Because he could play with the ball, and he played like with the ball and that in an era which that wasn't really a thing. Whereas I mean, like JT now, yeah, I'm not going to say like JT would be trash in this area, but like JT now, would he get in a pep team? Like, can he do that? I don't know. Like maybe he could.
He would.
He probably would. He probably would. But you get what I'm saying.
His passing was a joke, by the way, JT.
Yeah, I was going to say
he
could
on the
pass
ball.
the
He was so much better.
Diags,
Give him credit for.
Yeah, 100%. I'm just using Rio as an example because
Rio is far more dynamic than JT ever was. Rio gets the ball like Rio. John Stones, like Rio is doing way more than John Stones is ever doing. Do you know what I mean? Like because physically Rio was way more up for the battle than John Stones.
I think he's up there with them all. Honestly, but I don't really know why we don't put it like people. I see leaving him out of top 5s.
That is a shout, by the way. Samir said Diaz. If Diaz can, JT could.
There you go. Yeah, that's a great
true.
Let's be real.
The point that I was making, I was comparing him to Rio. Like I shouldn't have said that. But the point I'm trying to say is that Rio, like if he played now, like he could play in the greatest ball playing. Like he is that guy, but he also did it in an era where it wasn't really a thing.
When you use the term Rolls Royce, I think Rio was the first that kind of owned that saying. I know people associate that with players that can dribble out from the back, your John Stones, your Van Dijk, your Salibas, but he was like the pioneer of that. But what I would say, Potts, is about the Van Dijk thing for me, and it might be a bit of bias in terms of a peak. I think for that 3 years from 2017 to lockdown, basically, me personally, I've not seen a defender better than their peak. But when you're ranking them, everything comes into it. Trophies won, longevity. That's why for me, I always have JT and Rio above him. Not on ability. I think ability-wise, he's the best I've seen. But when you go trophies now, Van Dijk can't really speak to them when it comes to trophies. They've got multiple Prems and Champions League, where Van Dijk's got one of each of the two majors.
Van Dijk's the one that has been clearly the best centre-half in the world at one time of his career. And I think when the others, maybe that is talent.
Second in Ballon d'Or behind Messi is crazy.
There you go.
Yeah.
For me, that he is well up there, man. Like I think there's some that get disrespected. I think he's one. I think Tony Adams is another, and I think Yap Stam's another. They just get forgotten about, and those three.
I'm gonna throw in a can of worms here, Dan. Right, but you made a point earlier in the show that I think this is why Van Dijk actually gets held back in where he's put. The level of strikers that they're playing against now are miles off the level of what they were, I don't know, 10 years ago, maybe 15
I know, but
years
some
ago.
people should be able to just look at someone like a Van Dijk and go, nah, this guy is...
Van Dijk would have dealt with it, though, wouldn't he? I think he would have been... Imagine Van Dijk versus Drogba. He's going to give Drogba a difficult game. Diego Costa is going to give him a difficult game. There's no doubt about it. But I think that's why people aren't like willing to go Van Dijk at the top, because of the strikers he's dealt with. I mean, for a while, like...
Dan, the only two top strikers he had to deal with in his peak was Aguero and Harry Kane. You lot didn't really have one.
I mean, he's got Haaland at the moment.
Yeah, and Haaland. Sorry, but I meant like in his peak. Like when we won
Chelsea went strikerless for a while. Man City went strikerless at a time. Like Manchester United didn't have anyone putting goals. I mean, they had Ibra for a bit, but not for long. Like
Van Dijk, it was only really Aguero and Kane that
Van Dijk's harshest critic is the period of time that he was at the top of his game, and he'll never be able to change that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I think for me as well.
I've got Keown's list. Do you want to hear it? Because I think this will throw some people off in the chat. Right, Wesley Fofana. This is his top 5 current Prem centre backs. Number 5, Wesley Fofana. I think he's done this morning or something. Number 4, Mickey van der Ven. 3 John Stones, 2 Saliba, 1 Kanate. No Van Dijk, no Ruben Diaz, no...
Wait. So who's he left off that list then? Go on. Who's he left off that list? He's left off Van Dijk.
Ruben Diaz, Van Dijk, Vardio, but obviously not really a centre back.
Gabriel.
How
He is a
many
clown,
Fofana's been injured for about 5 years?
I don't even know if Fofana is Chelsea's best centre back this season. I'm not even sure
No,
if
he's
that
not.
is.
He's
I think
not.
Levi Colwell might have had
Is
a
he
better
talking
season.
about this season, or is he just talking about
right now? No. Martin Keown ranks top 5 Premier League centre backs right now.
That's crazy.
He's
Canate,
lost his mind.
Liverpool
Man.
have hardly conceded any goals this season. I know it's about a partnership, but he looks like he's coming out the shadow of Van Dijk. So Canate is the best one for me.
No.
He must have had a drink before this.
Kanate's sick, yeah, but he's not better than Van Dijk.
Exactly. He's very good.
There's a thing on the side that says like clean sheets, and it goes like Wesley Fofana 10, John Stones 74, Saliba 32, Canate 21. Then there's just Van der Ven 6. Like,
Stones has played 583 minutes this year. Like,
I don't even know Van der Ven. If he didn't have pace, how good is he as a defender? I actually don't know.
Do you know? I don't really
that's
rate.
a crazy one.
I don't really rate either of them too tough. But Van der Ven, I used to think he was because of his pace. But he's not even the best centre back in his team, in my opinion. So
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's actually 3 or 4 players on that list. Wesley Fofana, debatable if he's the best at Chelsea. Van der Ven, debatable if he's the best at Tottenham. He's probably is. John Stones, debatable whether or not he's the best at City. Saliba, I mean, Gabriel and him are pretty close. Canate, debatable whether he's even the best at Liverpool. Like,
If I'm honest with you, if you had to pick 5, I'm picking both of Liverpool's and both of Arsenal's in the top 5. If I'm honest,
yeah,
with you.
I'd probably agree with that. To be fair, that's
And
probably
then you
fair,
put
isn't it?
Diaz in there as for number 5. I think that's what I'd do.
That's not
I don't
even
know what he's on
outrageous,
about,
by the
this
way.
guy.
I put Stones above it. I don't think I've ever asked you. I think John Stones is your best centre. I think
when all fully fit, I think John Stones is our best centre back.
Same.
I'll
I
rate
thought
Diaz,
Akanji
man.
was
I'll
quality
rate
last
Diaz.
season. I don't know
Akanji
whether
last year was our best
Yeah.
defender. This is why you know the Ballon d'Or is fucking bullshit, yeah, because, and I shouldn't have said that because Rodri won it. but no, end of stream, man, end of stream. No, because, right, no City fan with a brain cell, yeah, will say that Diaz was better than Akanji last year. And Akanji also, yeah, if you actually watch the Euros proper, yeah, was one of the best centre-backs.
So Switzerland, yeah, he was cold.
He was actually sick,
He
mate.
was
So
cold.
how Diaz finished above Akanji in the Ballon d'Or is unbelievable, unreal last year. If you're just judging it off of last year, that is unreal. But yeah, listen, Diaz for me, I can't lie, man. Yeah, like listen to actually what I'm saying as well, chat. Right, I don't think Diaz has kicked on. When he come in his first year, he was up there with one of the best defenders in the world. He was up there with one of the best defenders in the world. We were comparing him with Van Dijk's. Yeah. He's not kicked on. If he's dropped off slightly. I'm not saying he's fallen off a cliff and he's crap because he's not, but like he's not. I don't think he's maintained the level, and he's certainly not gone up. So listen, I think he's only 26, so hopefully now he's starting to enter his peak years and that he'll get there. But there was a hope because in that first year he was immense.
26 LB.
I think he's 26.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, he come really young, Roms. Like he was like 21, 2.
All
when they
this
signed
time
him.
He's 27. He's 27, my bad.
27. Yeah,
I thought
did
he was
sign
early
at a really young
30s.
age.
You know what? Credit to him. I didn't know he was that young. I thought he was at 30, 31.
He
I
signed
still
young
think he's
enough that
quality,
he could
man.
do 10 years in the Prem, I reckon.
He's won 4 in a row. But I'm not talking about like I'm talking about like just individually. Like I'm talking about individually. Like no one bro, that first year he was arguably the best centre back in the world that first year. He was unreal.
He was immense. He was.
Don't he play like fucking 900 minutes more than Stones? Like I like Stones, but Christ, this guy doesn't play, does he? Like he just plays like 15.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If Stones is fully fit, yeah, and stays fit, I think he's our best defender.
Surely with
I'll
John
rate it,
Stones, you got to do a Ledley King sort of thing, and yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Someone said that in the chat, and if he stayed fit,
oh mate, he was unreal, mate.
He was unreal. He was unreal.
I was listening
was
to
a
someone
bad
talking about, I think it was on TalkSport, talking about Ledley King the other day, and they just said like he'd literally be in recovery all week long. He wouldn't train. He'd come out and do tactical work on the Friday, ready for the weekend game, and then he'd spend the rest of the week after he played his 90 minutes at the weekend. They were trying to bring the swelling down on his knee.
Yeah.
Like, you can manage.
He never trained, did he? He led the King.
Never trained.
He used to do
walked around
swimming.
for the
He
tactical
used to do
session.
swimming, yeah.
What?
He used to swim. Yeah, honestly. He used to swim while everyone trained. No joke.
Yeah, but they say aqua stuff is good for your joints.
Yeah,
and what.
that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
It's mad. It really is.
That
He
is
was
wild.
so good.
Did you know that Diaz has never not won the Prem? You know, that's mad, isn't it?
Wow.
Oh, really?
When
what year
did you sign
him?
him? Yeah, when did you sign him?
We signed him 4 years ago. So he
That's
called me at the start of the 4 piece.
crazy.
He's never lost the Premier
really?
League. He won 4 in a row, and obviously won the treble as well in there as well.
Hopefully
That's
that changes.
outrageous.
Hopefully that changes this season, man. Let's say that changes this
Yeah.
season.
Who would your so your top 5 would be the 2 Liverpool lads, the 2 Arsenal lads, and then you throw Diaz in there, yeah.
That's mine, but I don't know if the other guys agree.
I'm similar to Potts. It's just that I changed Diaz for Stones. I think Stones is immense.
When fit, you
when fit.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with Potts, to be fair. I think right now, I just take all those 5. I think injuries for me are a big issue. You've got to be able to stay fit to be the best.
I've been told, Dan, Van de Ven and Romero are better than Van Dijk and Saliba and Gabriel. These Tottenham fans, they'll tell you that they concede every week, but they concede every week. Oh, they annoy the hell out of me. They do. Can't even beat Ipswich Town.
I've got to the point with Spurs fans, right? When they go on a little run, I don't even really, obviously we're content creators. You have to speak to them on stream. But off stream, I just let them speak. I had George, big up George, right? LB was there on midday night. I predicted Villa would batter them, right? I said 3-4-1 was my prediction for the game. George was like, I told you wrong. Don't disrespect Spurs. We're this, we're that. I said, cool, I'm just going to wait. You're still shit. I'll just wait. Next week, they lose. This is what I mean with Spurs. You just let them talk. Do you
know centre-back wise, who actually last year I watched and was probably the most impressive? I haven't seen him yet. No, wait. I did see him this season, actually. We've already played him. Was the guy at Forest. He's like quite small.
Yeah, Milenkovic, man. Milenkovic.
No,
Murillo.
Yeah.
Murillo.
Oh,
that's how good they've been.
Both of them. Yeah, both probably, to be fair. But that Murillo, wow, someone super chatted it. Like, he was heading and kicking everything away. And you know what? I was watching him. I was like, one day this guy's capable of scoring a worldie. And the goal he got at the weekend, very decent as well. He's a player, but he's not massive. He's like 5'10".
That other one next to him, Milenkovic, he's a baller, mate.
Yeah,
that's one of the signings of the season so far. That for me.
You're spot on with what you said, because I was at the Forest loss, right? And he likes to do some marauding runs and take shots. And you're right. One of these days, he's going to score.
You're on about Murillo?
Right? Say it again.
You're on about Murillo?
Yeah, because he did a shot right behind the cop, and I think he got past. I think it was McAllister and someone else, and he kind of dropped the shoulder. I think he's Brazilian, isn't he?
Yeah.
So it's not surprising.
There's flair to him.
So he had flair, LB, and he had a shot, and it's rising. And I said to the guy next to me, "This could go in." And luckily, it hit someone in the cop. I was like, "He's going to score a worldie one of these games." You know, he's actually quite good. I think Real Madrid are linked to him. And again, it's international break. Things just get screwed out.
I don't think I've seen him, but we play him in a couple of weeks, so I'll watch him there.
The pair of them. Watch the pair of them, man. Trust me, they've got a great pair there. Absolutely brilliant.
So Milenkovic came from Fiorentina.
No, we got him next at home.
Oh, after from the first game from the international.
Yeah, we got Forest.
That won't be easy. Me and Dan will tell you now. That won't be easy.
Good side. Nuno's got on ball in. Nice Nuno of the Wolves era, not the Spurs Nuno.
Do you know what? I think Henry was saying this the other day, he had 10 games, Nuno, at Spurs. Like 10 games. Won 5, lost 5, and they sacked him. Like, he had a better win ratio or something than Ange. And like they've given Ange all this time. Like Nuno.
I hope Ange stays, man. I hope Ange stays. It's hilarious. Deji was saying the other night he thinks they're gonna lose at the rate they're going. They're gonna lose at least 18 games this season.
But doesn't he back them to do the treble?
Yeah, he's a clown though, and he sometimes.
Big up Deji, but that's.
I love Deji, but what is that all about? How they the Tottenham don't win trophies?
These are the I've got his games up because you already had 10. I can fit it on one screen, right? So this is Nuno's games when he was at Spurs. So the question is, did he deserve to be sacked after them 10 results? So he beat City, by the way. So he beat City 1-0. He then beat Wolves 1-0. Beat Watford 1-0. So 3 wins on a row, 1-0s, but they wins, right? So he probably top of the league or like maybe second or goal difference, right? Then he obviously takes a couple batterings against Palace. Palace away, difficult place to play though.
His London derbies are atrocious.
Yeah, that is bad. 3. So he's conceded 9 goals in 3 games, but then responds with a decent win at Villa, beats Newcastle away, which is a difficult place to play, loses another London derby, this time only 1-0, and then gets beat 3-0 at United. Is that really worth It's fraud watch. But is that sacking?
That's not worth a sacking.
That's not
The
sacking
only thing
territory.
is that Villa and Newcastle, they were relegation teams probably then. That's probably
He still beat them, though, bro. Like,
I'll tell you why it is worth. I'll tell you why it is, and I know this is going to sound clownish now, me saying this because the way that it ended. But when Conte's there, you do go and get him ahead of Nuno, like you do.
Oh,
like
right, yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's
Like,
a fair point. That's a fair point.
Like for me, anyway.
He come mid-season, didn't he?
Yeah. So for me, I think it makes more sense for who replaced Nuno as opposed to should he have been sacked. Like if I said to you now, do you want Pep Guardiola or Xavi? You're going to say, "Oh, Pep Guardiola is here. Sorry, Xavi. See you later." Like, do you know what I mean? And I like. Well, maybe that's a bad example.
If you actually do the maths on this, then so that's fair, right? But he was on 15 points after 10 games. Yeah, 15 points after 10 games, got sacked. Spurs are now on 16 points after an extra match.
Yeah. He should be. How is he not? How is he still there? By the way, this Postecoglou.
He's got the same sort of like. He's got what matches have they had this year?
Let's look at their form. It's literally win one, lose one, win one.
Yeah,
they haven't drawn, have they, at the new stadium yet or something?
Right, so they draw 1-1 at Leicester. I watched that game actually. They battered Leicester. They should have won like 4-0, but they drew. They beat Everton. Lost against Newcastle. Lost against Arsenal. Beat Brentford. They lost 3-0 funny enough, which is the same. Yeah, they got beat off Brighton being 2-0 up. Then they smack up West Ham. I mean, this is not too dissimilar. This is not too dissimilar from the games that he had that Nuno had, and he got sacked.
No, that's what I think Henry was saying it the other day. Like he was just saying it's crazy that they were so like. I think Dan's right though, isn't it? If Conte's who would they get now? I'm not sure, but Conte was obviously like sat there with an Italian sporting director. He was probably like, "What are we doing here with Nuno?"
But the thing is, boys, Tottenham have tried everybody and everything and everyone now. Who do they go to next? They've tried the project manager with Postecoglou and Pochettino. They've actually backed Postecoglou more than Pochettino financially as well. He spent 400 million euros, Postecoglou. That is a joke of amount of money.
Yeah, everyone thinks Poch had Harry Kane, but Poch bought Harry Kane through, didn't he?
Poch had a window, he didn't sign
anyone. Exactly. Yeah. Then they've tried Conte, they've tried Poch, they've tried Nuno, they've tried everything.
Dan, is that because they were trying to save the money to pay for the new stadium?
I mean,
they would have had a loan and shit, bro. They would have got a loan for the stadium.
Arsenal got the new stadium. Then you had awful transfer windows. Good few. I mean, you were saying it to Turkish the other day. Like you finally had one last season, and even then you had questions, and then you've just gone back to having shocking transfer windows again. But that's like what, since 2006, so it's nearly 20 years. You've had one good window. You said
that's the Kroenke zone, man. That's another thing. That's
Fraser hits the nail in the head. You said something, Potts, and you're like, "Oh, Spurs have tried anything and everything." There's one common denominator. They just need new owners now. I think if they get new owners, I think their fortunes could change. But Fraser hit the nail in the head. Levy's the problem because now
Spurs are very attractive to an American owner, and I think that's what Levy's doing. You know, with like the NFL link up with the stadium, concerts. I think they are literally almost like how an NFL like club works.
They're a tourist attraction club, man. That's what they are now.
They got F1 underneath as well, isn't it?
And also they're like their best player brings in a huge amount of tourism. Like he brings like floods of people from Korea to come and watch him. Like so they're probably trying to hang on to Son as well. That's another guy who I don't think's probably achieved what he could have for his ability.
Dan, you're spot on because I can't remember. I think it was after the Villa game. Yeah, was it the Villa game? And Son goes to speak to the Sky Sports cameras after, and all of that, the Oriental people and whatnot, they've stayed for him. It's like a sea of them. It's rising up. And you're right, like the amount of, not even just from Korea, like a lot of the Oriental countries, Japan, China, the amount of traction Son brings, it's crazy. The day he leaves, I think Levy's pockets will be hurt.
Oh, now, so listen to this, yeah. So, because I just, when Dan said that, it got me thinking, right? So I just Googled how much, estimation, how much is Tottenham Hotspur worth as a business? You know, like, so if this American guy comes and buys them, right? Kieran Maguire, financial football expert, has said he reckons Tottenham are valued at around £3.5 billion, right? That's the estimate. Right, so call it 3 billion. You say it's a bit over, say 3 billion, right?
That's more than what Chelsea sold for, by the way.
Yeah, but they've got a bigger stadium and shit, innit?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. And
So
success-wise, they've done nothing.
no. But so listen to this, right? 3 billion, right? Have a guess. Right? I'm gonna ask you guys a question. Chat, getting involved in this, yeah. How much do you think ENIC bought Tottenham for? It's worth 3 billion now. How much do you reckon they bought them for?
10%.
I'm gonna go 400k. Something.
Whoa.
400k?
Nah.
Yeah.
Bro, it's not a house.
How long have they been there? How long have they been there? Sorry.
He bought them in 2 stages. He bought some in 2000. He bought the rest in 2007. He bought it in 2000,
Okay,
and then
the
he bought the
first
rest.
lot he bought was probably around 100 mil, if that. And then I reckon it's 200 to 300 million in value.
He bought them for 40 million. 47 million.
Okay, I was going to say 50 million. No, I didn't want to say
That's
50 million.
47 million pound, yeah.
Wow.
And now, yeah,
Right.
it's worth 3 billion.
Yeah, I was going to
Who
say
owns
50.
it? Who's the owner?
ENIC,
Right.
English National Investment Company.
Oh, it's Joe. Is it Joe Lewis?
Joe Lewis.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's the
Joe
guy who
Lewis.
got done for. He got done for insider
Yeah.
trading, innit?
Yeah.
Like the guy Wolf of Wall Street, bro. He literally is him, bro. That's him, man.
Because originally Daniel Levy didn't have any ownership in it at all, but now I think he has a percentage in maybe in ENIC. I think he might have been rewarded equity or bought equity or something. Like
And
that.
they only own 86% of Tottenham apparently, so it's like 86% of 3.5 billion, but it's still
Yeah, but
fucking
it
a
was
lot.
only 86% of 40 million as well.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah, so
That's
they'll be laughing. They've probably.
Bro,
That's what that is. Literally, okay. So I think I'm not an expert here, but I think they literally bought the club for 1% of what it could now sell for,
Yeah.
because it would have been about 30 million.
Yeah.
So they're now up. That is crazy.
Have any of you been to the stadium?
Yeah, I've
Dan,
been.
have you been?
I genuinely believe, right, a club like that don't deserve it. But for me, like if you're gonna go stakes and what it can bring and whatnot, and in terms of the modernization of the game, it's probably the best stadium in the country. I'll give it that. It is crazy. Their stadium is actually amazing. And then, but you speak to their fans about, we don't care about that. We want to actually see stuff in the cabinet because you go there and there's just
The funniest thing in that stadium is the slogan "To dare is to do." That is the funniest part about Spurs. To dare is to do. I dare you to do something. They don't do anything. They don't do anything. That's what it should say.
Nah,
We don't do anything.
It is a good stadium. It is decent. I do like Arsenal's. I've got to say that's decent. But you know what they've done? Yeah, they've learned from mistakes of other clubs that have got stadiums. So you've seen City Stadium, you've seen Arsenal Stadium, 2 decent stadiums, yeah. But what they realised is that you need to get it closer. You need to be closer, and obviously then they've gone for the one thing. I think Everton Stadium's going to bang. I think the atmosphere in the new Everton Stadium is going to be crazy because they've gone like sort of old school, very close to this. It's very steep. They're going to pack it. I think that. Bro, I think that's going to be one of the best atmospheres.
It just reminds me of Schalke's ground.
I've been Schalke, yeah.
Yeah, do you think it looks like apart from the roof, I think
Velton
how
is
it looks inside is a bit like the Veltins.
Yeah, no, it does. Yeah, I went, we was 2-1 down. We scored 2 goals in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Sane scored a free kick to equalise.
Because I went out there for the
I remember
Euros when we played
kick.
Serbia.
Very good free
and,
kick,
like,
yeah. I remember it.
That ground is like on top of that pitch, and I was like, the stand is so steep up, and I was like, this is crazy. Like, if a team had this in the Prem, it would be rocking.
But
like, they do their grounds well, Germany.
LB spot on about it being close to the pitch. Because I think even you lot, Dan, I think when you get planning permission around L's Court, I think you're going to try and build your stadium. I think it's important that you try and get it as close to the pitch. That's why we didn't build a stadium over Stanley Park, because we were going to get 65,000 seater and build a new stadium. No, no, we want it because Anfield is everything's right close to the pitch. Either stand, you're literally a couple yards away from the pitch. I think for me, it has an effect on the game. Honestly, the nearer your fans are, you can hear them. Literally, I think it intimidates the other team, man. It honestly.
Have you seen the West Ham photo? Have you seen it where it's like a comparison between Upton Park, where it's like obviously on top, and then there's a photo of a guy stood at the back of the Olympic Stadium, and then it's all these seats that are really flat and low all the way down. Then there's a Heineken beer tent, and then there's a running track, and then there's a bit that goes to the goal where the players warm up, and then there's the pitch. Like, they're so far
That's
back.
the worst playground, man. That's the worst.
I feel so sorry for those Stelter West Ham fans, man, because that Upton Park was such a mint stadium, and
that was
like English football, wasn't it? Upton Park. Like that was
St.
just, and then they just
Goodison's one we're going to lose as well, because I look at that and think that's a traditional English stadium.
Proper historic. Yeah, proper.
And it
historic.
affects your results. Teams that normally move to a bigger stadium where you lose that passion, you normally end up beating them.
Look at Highbury.
Exactly, and at Upton Park, I think all of us got so many dodgy results there. But now at the new stadium, Potts is hitting them for 6. You're hitting them for how many the other day? We hit them for 5 their first year there. LB's hit them for a lot of goals as well. I feel like it takes away from the competitiveness. I genuinely believe it does.
It does, because at the end of the day, yeah, like you've seen teams get like, I've seen my team literally crumble at Anfield, bro, because of the atmosphere. Yeah. I've seen it happen. Like when you go to fucking West Ham, no one's crumbling at West Ham. You might crumble on the pitch, but it's not because of the fans. It's not because of the atmosphere. You're crumbling just because you're crumbling. Whereas teams
running around that massive pitch.
Bro, it's wild, man. And didn't they get lied to? I swear those fans got lied to. And I swear the owners said they're going to get rid of they're going to get rid of it. And like, because City used to have an athletics track, because obviously it was for the Commonwealth.
That was Commonwealth Games, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was actually a 2-tier stadium, and one of the ends was completely not even there. And then they dug down. So when our pitch is below sea level, so you actually below, they dug down to get that extra stand, man. But
yeah, we're doing that. There's talk we want to do that. Cronkies want to put it up to 75,000. They need more money. So they're going to try and get more of a capacity. They're talking about building into it downwards, or taking the roof off, which apparently can happen in these new stadiums, and just building up from there.
Keep building it up.
On. That's what there's rumours are at the moment. But real talk, man, can we kick Spurs out this top 6 now, Big 6 thing? Because it's becoming a joke really now.
Yeah, someone said Villa should be in it.
If they win one more trophy, then they get it. It's what it's equivalent of, right? It's us 4 sitting in a pub with a United fan having a Guinness, and a 14-year-old coming up, Spurs fan, going, "Can I have one, sir?" No, wait till you're old enough, son. That's what it should be.
You know what? For each other start of a date and something along the lines of, I'm just going to stop including them.
Yeah, what's the point of Spurs? It was what's the point of Spurs? That was
There was some news coming out that apparently United, Liverpool, Arsenal, I think, and Spurs have all indicated that they want to sue City if we lose the 115. Chelsea are not involved. They're like, no, we're not suing a fellow blue brother. And everyone's like,
the blue
cartel. I'm like, why are Spurs getting involved? And you know what? The Spurs fans have the cheek.
They want their Carabao. LB, they want their Carabao Cup.
You literally had the perfect manager to try and win that, on a one-off game against Pep. Who's the perfect manager to do that? Jose Mourinho. And you sacked him a week before and give it Ryan Mason. You do not deserve that. You do not deserve compensation.
That is the Spursiest thing ever, by the way.
Did you not hear?
All off. That is the one.
Did you not hear Hugo Lloris come out recently in the final against us? They all got, I don't know what watch it was, but they all got a watch before the game.
Saying finalists on it. Champions League finalists.
I always said we won that. We won that Champions League when we beat Barca. The minute Spurs got confirmed and they knocked out, I wasn't worried one bit. Genuinely wasn't worried one bit.
I don't think anyone was. That's probably like the least, I don't know, maybe one of the least viewed.
It's the most embarrassing Champions League final in history, isn't it?
Really. I turned it off. As soon as they got that penalty, I turned it off.
It was a dead game.
I was just like, fuck this, I'm not. Because I knew, I was like, Liverpool ain't losing this now after that penalty. But the thing is, what has to happen to Newcastle or Villa to get them to replace Spurs then, Potsy? Because you want to kick Spurs out. Like, what do they have to win?
I just say
we give it something.
I just say, why does it have to be 6? Just say the big 5. Because there ain't big 6, is there? If we're trying to replace Spurs, we're doing what we're doing with Spurs. We're saying, who's the next less shit? Do you know what I mean? Because that's what Spurs are, isn't it? They're just shit team, shit club, and shit fan base.
I think Villa are going to get it, because I just think the way Villa is set up.
If Villa are positioned to have an actual right for it if they do compete, but we're bantering Spurs because they haven't won trophies, but neither have Villa. So we look at their history and we go, what do they need now? Villa need a couple of more trophies, don't they, to actually outdo Spurs trophy-wise? So Spurs are basically the club with all the gear with no idea. Do you know what I mean? They've got all the gear, but they're no idea how to use it. That's what I see Spurs as. A real talk. I know we can't talk too loud because we haven't won much lately, but trust me. You
still pick up the FA Cup. Here's a question for you, Potsy, Do you think that, this whole 5th place Champions League thing, do you reckon that's sort of like pushing us to a big 5 rather than a big 6?
I hope so, yeah. If they're going to give us coefficients and they're going to say 5 places now gets Champions League, let's get rid of this big 6 crap, because I can't stand it. Because really it's the rich 6, isn't it? It was what it should be called. The rich
Yeah,
six,
yeah.
not the big six. The only reason Tottenham are even in the considered is because they've got money. It's not because they win shit. Because the last time they won an FA Cup, I was 3. I'm 37 now. So let's just be real. They're just an embarrassment, aren't they? That's what they are. And it's 18 years in it since they won the Tin Pot, the old League Cup.
Yeah, they beat
So
Chelsea.
come on, man. They're just a
I was
disgrace.
9 when they won that.
They ain't
Look at
going to
this
win
as
any.
well, yeah.
They ain't going to win anything this year, in my opinion. I don't think they'll beat United in the Carabao Cup. Even I don't think they're going to win the Europa League, and I don't think they're going to win the FA Cup. So
Check this, Potsy, yeah.
Go on,
This is the richest football clubs in Europe. This is from Deloitte, by the way. Yeah, this isn't just some random guy on Twitter. This is Deloitte. Spurs are 8th, and they've
That's
not
what I
won
mean.
anything in 20 years. How bad is that? That is
It's
so
the
bad.
rich six, man. I told you this, fam. It's the rich six. It ain't the big six. They ain't big. They're just rich. Do you know what I mean? Like, look at those teams: Real Madrid, fair, City, yeah, PSG, Barca, Man United, Bayern, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal. Let's keep going. Juve, even Dortmund, AC Milan,
Who's
Inter
the
Milan.
bottom 5?
Come
Is that
on,
Villa?
man.
There they
Oh,
go.
West Ham? Oh my gosh.
West Ham, yeah.
Didn't expect to see West Ham on that list, to be fair.
West
See,
Ham
this
are
is
there,
what
man.
makes me laugh. Tottenham fans don't want to hear this, but they're further to West Ham than they are to us lot. Tottenham. Are.
Facts.
Yeah, well, West Ham won the Conference League, man. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And they've won a trophy, and I know people like it's only the Conference League. It's still a trophy, still a European Cup. Like, yeah, it's not valued as highly as the champs or the Europa, but it's still a European Cup, mate. You know what I mean? And they beat what, Fiorentina in the final, was it? Who
Yeah,
they beat in the
yeah.
semi-final. They beat someone decent, didn't they, in the semi-final as well?
Frankfurt, not Frankfurt. Who was it? It was someone like that in the semi.
I'm pretty sure they beat someone
Olympiacos,
semi-decent.
I think it was someone like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so you know they've won something. You know
I
what I'm
can't
saying?
stand. I just hate the Spurs fan base, man. They're so absolutely deluded. I have to sit down, and luckily they go quiet until about January when we got to play them, and then they'll start putting everyone in their combined 11s again. Look at this brilliant Tottenham side we got here that's better than Arsenal's, and they'll just finish below us again. It's just a madness. They're just a strange fan base, man.
This is what I'm saying. I think it might have been, was it Roms who was saying it before about like, this is why I'm kind of like, I said to who just said it? Who's on the midday live, Roms? Spurs.
George.
I said to George on Monday. I said, well, what's the point in sacking Ange? Like, what's the point?
Did.
Like, what is the point? Oh, because he's shit. But Conte, you've sacked him. You had Mourinho, you sacked him. You had Nuno, you sacked him. You had Poch, you sacked him. Redknapp, even going back further like that, it's just like, bro, at some point you've got to realise that it's not the managers, probably not the players, it's the owner. It's the owner, man. That owner is not interested in winning. We've just shown you that they're the 8th highest revenue generating club in the world, and they've not won anything. I always say this, yeah, the best way to prove it, right, that even in Arsenal's banter era, they still picked up FA Cups. Even in United's banter era, they still won Europa League. They've still farmed like Carabao Cups, FA Cups. Yeah. Like teams who've done shit over the years still win stuff. And
they don't want to win, though. They don't want to win. You hear Deji and all them lot. I don't want a Carabao Cup and an FA Cup. I want to go and win it. You're not good enough to win that. Like, do you know, it's just embarrassing, isn't it?
Do you know another graphic, Potts, that who was it? LB, I think Lee put up on Midday Live. Lee put up how much each club has spent in the last 10 years. Spurs were like 5th or 6th. They spent more than us. Spurs were like 5th or 6th. It was crazy.
Embarrassing.
I think they spent more than Real Madrid. Real Madrid were like 8th or 9th. And Spurs, I can't remember exactly where Spurs were, but the clubs that hit there outspent the likes of us, Real Madrid. It was crazy. When Lee put out, we just all started laughing. And bless George was just there, didn't know what.
What can you say though? What can you say?
I've got it here. I found it. This is CIES Football Observatory, right? Check this. This is last 10 years, right, of spend. Bro, what are they on that list? Is it 8th? Yeah. Or 7th,
I think.
7th on the list, and they've won nothing, bro. That is
When's that from? When's that from? How many years is this?
That is from, I think it's 2014.
Wow.
Or 2015 to 2024.
And they spent more than Arsenal. My word.
They've spent more than Arsenal by 0.1 billion.
By nothing.
0.01 billion.
That is mad.
That's insane, isn't it? That is actually
mad.
Wild. They've won nothing on that, and they've spent 1.4 billion.
I think I remember looking at that list like before we had our new owners, and I think Chelsea were down like 5th, 6th, something like that. We're now like miles clear at first. We've added on 1 billion easily.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because you can justify it and say you've won Champions Leagues, you've won shit.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah,
you
no,
now
don't
have a
get me wrong.
team that everybody is going, that's going to compete for a title in the next year or two.
Yeah, but that number just looks huge, I think, doesn't it? 2 points, like 8
Yeah, but what you got to
billion.
remember is that, but hang on a minute, because you're going to probably add another 150 to that, right, in the next transfer, because you need a goalkeeper, a centre back, and maybe a striker, right? But then you're done.
Free. Yeah.
But then you're
Oh,
done.
you reckon?
City, I'm saying we need to spend 300 million in the next 2 windows, i.e., January and the summer. United are going to have to spend another 500. Spurs, and then it pulls us closer to you. We'll be on like 2.4, 2.5 billion within 2 years. I don't think you'll spend too much after you get like your centre back and your goalkeeper. But like, look at Real Madrid down there at 1.16 bill. How is that even possible, man?
Because they're the biggest. They just we said it a few weeks ago, didn't we? About when we were talking about Trent. They just literally are the appeal for every footballer to run their contract down and try and join Real Madrid.
People forgetting Spurs were in the Conference League. Do they?
Yeah, that was the most embarrassing season as well because they didn't even get through the group
They
stage.
got knocked out, didn't they?
Yeah,
They lost to Moira. They lost to Moira Higgins.
What?
They lost to Moira. Yeah,
don't
they lost
remember
to
that.
Moira. Remember in COVID, and they said, "Oh, we're going to kick you out now because you've." They didn't play the last game. Conte just basically said, "Mug this competition off," basically, but they didn't get through. They come third in the group stage. Spurs.
No way.
Yeah.
I don't remember that, man.
I'm going to look this up. I'm sure they did come third, but I might have been wrong on it.
Because I can't remember what Spurs fan said to me, right? And I know you can't write off games, but I've already said the last 4 in the Carabao Cup will most likely be Arsenal, United, Liverpool, Newcastle. Obviously, people don't go like that. Of course, there could be one upset. But Spurs fans are like, oh, we're going to beat United. We're at home. And I'm thinking, United's the last team I want to be backing. But with Amorim coming in, them getting a bit of form, you're just the team to gift them another semi-final under Amorim. Like, I can't even, like LB just said, I can't even see them beating United in a few weeks' time. It's crazy. Their trophy's just not going to come.
They are LB.
Oh yeah, one sec.
That was their table.
What? No way, bro. They didn't get out of group with Vitesse Arnhem.
Well, Vitesse Arnhem are like gone now, by the way. I don't think they're.
They were your feeder club, weren't they?
Yeah, they're gone now. I genuinely don't even know if they exist.
Oh, they gone bust, have they?
Maybe.
Well, Moira, look at NS Moira. That's the team they lost to. NS Moira. Who are
I
they?
just got what you said, Potsy. Moira Higgins. That was the Love Island.
Moira Higgins is Love Island, isn't it? She's in the jungle now, apparently. Moira.
Yeah.
Oh, Moira.
Nah, they are a joke, man. They are a joke.
They're dusty.
It
Man.
is. All right, and boys, big up. We've done an hour and a half. Big up for jumping on. Yeah, it's crazy. Net spend per trophy. One City are the most efficient spenders of all of them. Apparently, says beyond belief. Yeah, interested. All right, and boys, big up, man. Have you guys got any shows coming up today on your channels or whatever?
I'm on at 4 p.m. Let's Talk Ball. Got a good panel coming up. I'm on with Troops actually at 2:15 before that. So on his channel, and then on Football's 12th Man. So yeah, big up LB, big up Roms, and big up Dan, big up the chat.
Yeah.
Sound. What about you two boys? You got out going on?
So, not really. Show with rants tomorrow. That's about it.
Yeah. What about you, Dan?
Nah, nothing else today, but I'll pick up towards the weekend. Maybe we'll talk about England. I don't know. We'll see. International breaks kill me, man. I can't do it.
Have you deeped it? This is how dead England are. No one cares. We've not mentioned them once till the end of the show. They're literally playing tonight.
Like, they're not even bothered, are they? The
And that absolute moron Harry Kane, by the way, giving it because all of us are pulling out. Oh, it's so much more important. Club, country. What does he know? Don't win anything. What does this guy know?
I know.
You know what I mean?
I'm with you. That guy needs to shut up, man. All right, and boys, big up, man. Guys, if you've enjoyed the stream, please smash the like button. Give us your comments in the comment section below if you're watching this back on a replay. If you want to help support the channel, then you can become a YouTube channel member. The link is in the description, pinned comment. Sometimes there's a little join button as well. I do appreciate all your support. I'll probably do something tonight. I don't know, man. Taking it easy in the international break. But yeah, we're out of here. See you later.